Oh,
11%.
right. So,
Visayas, na dapat bailiwick niya, 15%.
yeah.
Tapos sa NCR, 3%.
Baba, di
Mataas
ba?
din
Bumaba
sa
siya
Mindanao.
significantly.
Pero significant yung pagbaba niya sa DNE na
Right.
dapat base ng mga Duterte. So, medyo delikado siya sa ganyan numbers kung magpapatuloy yan in the next survey or other survey firms, no, na
But
lalabas.
don't you think it's a kind of a blessing in disguise in a sense that now that she's feeling vulnerable and all, the less reason she has to take on BBM, therefore giving BBM more reasons to also, keep his powder, keg dry. Kasi,
Could be,
di ba?
pero
Kasi kung
dito,
malakas na malakas si Sarah ngayon, feeling ko lalong magsusulsul yung iba, uy, let's go for gold na. Pero kung ikaw si Sarah ngayon, eto, nawala ka ng confidential fund, bumababa yung approval ratings mo, medyo alanganin yung situation, timing ka na lang, and who knows, maybe that will actually work in her favor kasi bumaba na intentions ulit eh. Yun ang
yeah, could
sinasabi ko
be.
sa'yo eh. Ayaw ni Kuting, ayaw din yung isa. So even if ang gugulo yung tatay na yan, they can still keep it at a certain level of threshold, below a certain parang nag-gray zone attack sila sa isa't isa, parang West Philippine Sea, di ba?
That's
Short
a
of total
distinct,
war.
that's a distinct possibility. Pero this past 2 weeks, at least four speeches ni President Bongbong, he was talking about destabilization. Ito yung pinakamarami niyang banggit sa destabilization. Tinawag pa nga niyang blatant destabilization. No? Alam ko kasi destabilization, blatant naman talaga yan eh. Kaya baka double negation yung kanyang statement. No? Kaya,
Baka
pero,
meron yung Kuting version ng disability.
kaya nagulat ako ha. At doon sa dalawang speeches na yan, nandun si Sarah. Yung sa PMA, nandun si Sarah sa likod niya. Sino ba naman ang destabilizer kung hindi yung pamilya? Di ba? Wala namang iba eh. Poker face si Sarah. Ikalawa, dito sa kanyang trip sa Brunei at saka sa Singapore, hindi niya ginawang caretaker si Sarah. At wala si
That's a
Sarah,
good point. That's a very good point.
wala si
He always
Sarah.
does that.
Oh,
Good point.
at wala si Sarah doon sa kanyang departure.
Departure drama. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's happening? Kaya, in one sense, sinasabi mo, medyo natahimik ng kaunti. Pero in another sense, may scaling up dito sa destab narrative. No? At for the first time, hindi siya ginawang caretaker. So, what's happening?
Yeah, yun nga eh. So I think if you're Marcos right now, you feel a little bit better, right? You feel a bit more comfortable calling out nonsense or that destabilization. Sarah is getting weaker. She doesn't have much funds. She's quite isolated and marginalized. Wala siyang platform masyado. So that's why I use the boiling frog phenomenon, di ba? Na unti-unti, pwede ni marginalize ang si Sarah until someone else comes up now who Marcos can work for 2028.
Hmm.
But then again, we'll go back again to the discussion of I mean, your instinct is okay, let's do it like economists, ceteris paribus. If current trend lines continue, should the ICC warrant of arrest come in the coming weeks, what do you think will be Sarah's positioning? She cannot afford to say, I will just be neutral, right? If yung kanyang amang involved here, right? I mean,
Of
that
course,
would be also political suicide for her. Wala na siyang uwian sa Davao, di ba?
of
Game
course.
over na siya.
Hindi siya pwede mag-no comment statement.
That's
Pero,
very good point.
pero at the same time, pag sakaling nakapasok yung ICC at na-serve yung warrant, ibig sabihin, clearly may suporta ng gobyerno. Di ba? Clearly may position, may kailangan niyang pumosisyon as member of the official family, as member of the government. So malalagay talaga sa spot, no? Diyan. At kung sakaling makakapasok yan, yung ICC at magsaserve ng warrant, according to sa timeline na sinasabi ni Senator Trillanes, then walang choice si Sarah. No? Wala siyang choice. The
Or
decision
she
was
could just
already
be a
made
complete
for
lame
her.
duck vice president with no political future whatsoever. It's
Hindi
not
naman
like
siya kailangan mag-resign as vice president eh. Kailangan siya mag-resign as cabinet secretary.
as depth at say oh
Mm.
nga no. And then she will just parang Lenny, yung ginawa kay Lenny na pinalis na lang ganon. Except I
Mm.
don't know if she can pull off what Lenny was able to pull off in spite of all of the limitations and problems and demonization and all of that. That's quite an interesting point, no? That's quite an interesting point. Sige, so now again, so if you were to bet right now, Marcos is in a much, much better position. And the next 6 months is definitely in his favor, right?
Yes. Actually, yung message niya dito sa kanyang destabilization, numerous destabilization speeches, it's a message to the destabilizers. Alam namin what you're doing. No? We're on top of you.
Yeah. You're
Kaya,
digging your own grave, umayos kayo
yes, that
dyan.
was a clear message dun sa mga plotters.
But clear message in a sense na if you behave yourself, will not do anything anymore. Ay, yun nga yung point ko eh. My theory is hanggang dyan na lang and then, ayaw mo
Yeah.
na. Ayaw mo na yung
Yeah.
mga kuting style politics. I don't know. I mean, I know my own stuff, but you know, off the record. But on the record, parang there's always this worry in me na hayaan na lang nila yan or anything like that.
Pero it's the midterm eh. If the Duterte survive beyond the midterm, then it's a different ball game. Ngayon kasi lahat nag-aalisa.
Definitely 2026. Yeah.
Lahat
Definitely
nag-aalisa na sa kanila eh. Diba?
Yeah.
Lahat nag-aalisa na sa PDP. At yung kanilang resources ay unless may direct funding from abroad ay greatly diminished, no? Kaya they're also fighting for their lives, for their survival. But if they survive beyond the midterm,
They can
at si
come back stronger. Yeah.
Sara ay nasa top 2 going into
Yeah.
2028, then they might get a second win. At yung mga umalis sa kanila, some of them ay magsisimulang bumalik. So hindi sila masisiro. At yung grupo ni BBM ay hindi nakakasigurado sa Senado dahil marami sa kanilang i-adapt o isasama sa administration slate. Hindi sila nakakasigurado. Hindi sila nakakasigurado kay Aimee. Hindi sila nakakasigurado kay Pia. Hindi sila nakakasigurado sa Villar. Hindi sila nakakasigurado kay Francis Tolentino kahit aalis halimbawa sa PDP. Hindi sila nakakasigurado doon sa ibang mga i-adapt nila dahil hindi ito organic sa BBM Partido Federal. Hindi sila organic diyan. Kahit yung mga nasa lakas sa NUCD na tatakbo for the Senate like si Bong Revilla, hindi sila nakakasigurado diyan. So, kahit manalo yung admin slate o karamihan sa kanila, hindi sila sigurado dito sa mananalo dahil hindi sila organic kay BBM.
Yeah, I understand. BBM has that weakness na wala siyang solid base even compared to Duterte's. My point is, if you are Marcos, the best way is to split the difference, Chinese style, in a way of you marginalize Sara until 2025, 2026, and then you aggressively promote someone who can defeat her for 2028, something like that, short of total war, civil war mode, something like that, right? You just use the ICC as a Damocles sword, use the investigation, boiling frog them, just make sure the Mexican standoff doesn't go Mexican all the way, right? And then for someone else to beat her.
That is their dilemma after the midterms. Wala rin silang organic na presidente na i-field nila sa 2028 na absolute yung loyalty sa kanila. Kung sakali, they will be kingmaker supporting another candidate na hindi organically sa kanila. No? So, yun yung mangyayari sa kanila. So, they cannot be sure eh. Dahil nga ay matagal silang nawala sa politika at parang overnight nakabalik sila at nung nakabalik sila ay it's in a coalition na nawasak. So maraming problema going into the midterm, definitely going into 2028. Sa midterm lang nga eh, hindi na sila sigurado sasama sa administration eh, ng mga kandidato eh. Lalo na sa 2028 kung kukuha sila ng isang kandidato na hindi talaga kanila.
Yeah.
Siyempre, yung kandidato na yun, pag naging presidente na yun, iba na yung mundo nun.
You're right, Rona. Each of them have their own points of weakness. As I said, if you were Marcos now, you would feel better. But we cannot say the same thing in 10, 12 months from now.
Yes.
And if you were Marcos...
in politics, that's a short time. Huh?
Yeah. The time element is everything.
It's fast.
Yeah, exactly. Except, of course, there could be some unforeseen circumstance that could force Marcos' hand. Diba? So far, well, that could... ako kasi, my worry is if Marcos successfully takes down the Dutertes, right? Then he will go for a maximalist position. So then we'll see a different BBM. Whereby, okay, wala na mga Dutertes. Hindi naman scary itong opposition na totoo. I'll go for gold, right? Sandro as Prime Minister, right? So I'm sure there'll be people who push for that. If we can take down Duterte, then the field is all ours. That kind of mindset. Kaya nga sabi ko, mahalaga talaga for the real opposition to also be ready here. Kasi everyone now is excited for Duterte's to go down, but you might get a different version of BBM if the Duterte's go down. Kasi remember, Ron, my argument was, the reason why itong unity ay nagwawatak-watak ng ganito is because walang opposition. So sila na lang nag-away kasi wala pa lang iwa eh. So the moment Duterte goes down and then BBM will say, yung pala ako na, di ba? So then you'll see a completely different BBM possibly. Kasi wala akong I don't trust our Western allies and partners in the sense that I know some of them are pushing for more human rights and democracy, but at the end of the day, it's geopolitics. And BBM, just like his father, will use that China and those elements to say, you don't want to lose me. If you lose me, there'll be Duterte's and also. Kaya nga, I'm still worried about the potentially maximalist, hindi na kuting, talagang Tigre of Norte version of BBM. But we'll keep it there because there's so much to discuss and ayoko ubusin yung mga susunod na episodes. And of course, we God willing, we'll have our own version of, second version of our Ilustrado Talks. Medyo aktivista version naman tayo this time. And dahil malapit ng Independence Day, itong National Flag Day na tayo ngayon, medyo ibang vibes naman tayo soon. Sir Ronald. Thank you very much, Sir Ronald Dimas. So next episode, pag-usapan natin, opposition. What should the opposition do? Salamat. Okay, Sir Ronald, very quickly, bago natin pag-usapan ng opposition, obviously, Bam Aquino, Chel, Kiko Pangilinan, etc. We discussed them, but I want to discuss them more because I had some thoughts also about this. And kanina, of course, for disclosure, I already posted it, but I had also meeting with Bam and all because I'm trying to arrange also a podcast with him and hopefully interview more and more candidates, over the coming months as we get next to the elections. But konting pahabol lang dito, we're not talking about Vico Soto at all, and he's gonna run also next year. And my sense is he'll run for mayor again, third term. Now, I want to talk about the Vico Soto case because if Risa Ontiveros is on one hand a very, very inspiring case, I would say Vico Soto is also very inspiring because it gives you an idea that there's a next generation after Risa, which also is millennial, effectively, millennials. And hindi ko pa alam Gen Zs, I'm sure they'll be even better than us. But at least he's the millennial progressive star, right? And he's a star in a very interesting way, right? He has the celebrity status, but he acts in an anti-celebrity way. Wala siyang pinapamigay na interview whatsoever. Now, by chance, just the other day, interestingly, I caught some, alam mo yung mga YouTube news sites na hindi naman mainstream, at pinapakita itong speech by Vico Soto where, very interestingly, he explains yung kanyang renewal projects na, yung bagong City Hall nila, which is a 9.6 billion pesos project. So obviously, yung mga kalaban nila, alam na natin sila mga to, hindi na natin kailangang pangalanan, itago na lang natin
mga Eusebio.
Itago na lang natin sa Siyempre, marami nagmamarites dyan at sinasabi, baka ano yan, di ba? So he very patiently explained point by point bakit ganito yung presyo, hindi ito yung final price, ito yung approved project, ito yung kailangan, ito yung basahin nyo. So the guy spent 10 minutes at least explaining just the big picture. And then he released the video with the videos, everything like that. I just found parang he did it like a Scandinavian mayor, right? Or like a Hamburg mayor. Like you could imagine if Scholz, when he was mayor of Hamburg, he would do something like that when he explains a big project. Kind of very social democratic, mayor talking to the people, citizenry. I just found that very refreshing. Hindi siya galit, hindi siya pikon, pero very firm. Very firm na, you don't say nonsense there, okay? I'm gonna call that out. Maayos yung pagkagawa niya. I mean, ikaw, what is your read of Vico Soto? Because we're not talking about him as much now, but come 2027, he's going to be the hot commodity, not yet for president, but definitely for a national position and beyond.
Well, nowadays kasi, lalong nagiging totoo yung dictum that all politics is local. At nakita natin, yung dito sa Makati ni Binay, propelled him to the vice presidency from out of nowhere. Diba? Actually, hindi siya yung original na kandidato ni ERAP for the vice presidency. Ang original was Cheese. Pero hindi tinanggap
ni Cheese. And Mar was at 40%. Like almost prohibitive winner, yeah.
Yes, pero yung kanyang narrative is just dito sa Makati. Ibig sabihin, pinapakita...
Ganito kami sa Makati, di maging ganito kung
yeah. Kung kaya namin gawin ito, kaya rin namin ito gawin on a national level. Ganun din si Duterte to some extent. No? Yung hype about him is because he was a mayor who allegedly cleaned Davao. At kung kaya niyang linisin yung Davao, kaya niyang linisin yung bansa. Ang problema, iba yung ibig sabihin nilang clean Davao. At yun yung kanyang ginawa sa paglinis sa bansa. At hindi
Pero
naman
malinis ang Davao. I mean, in a
yeah.
literal sense.
At hindi na nasolusyonan yung problema. No? So, pero makikita mo na compelling yung local narrative. Kaya pwedeng gawin niya ni Vico Soto as a narrative. No? Pero hindi mo yan sinisimulan lang pagtatakbo ka na for national position. Kailangan ngayon
As
ay
early as
i-hype mo na
now.
rin. No? Lakasan mo na rin. Others should do it for him. Dahil siya kasi ay very circumspect, very humble, etc. So, hindi mo
Very
maasahan
self-effacing. Yeah.
siya yung mangunguna dyan. So, others should do it for him. Knowing na hindi naman sapat na tahimik ka lang. Hindi naman sapat na
You're right.
dun lang sa mga marginal na mga social media kalalabas. Kailangan mag-mainstream ka rin.
Kailangan
Yeah.
podcast ng R&R.
Yeah. At kailangan maging brand. Diba? Maging brand siya, maging household brand siya. Yung Vico Soto brand. Ano bang peg niyan? Kumbaga, pag naisip ng tao si Vico Soto, lalabas yung peg na yon.
Parang Vicky Bello ka ng...
Oo. Lalabas,
Parang kang dapat Vicky Bello. Meron ka rin
oo, oo.
branding, di ba?
Oo. Parang Vicky Bello, may brand. Pag pinaisip mo si Vicky Bello, naisip mo yung kanyang brand. So, kailangan din, may ganun din si Vico Soto. No?
Oo,
Pero
mag-collect lang sila ng mga videos like that.
panahon ngayon ng mga lokal na nagiging national. No? Kaya nga, very compelling din yung narrative ni Mayor Magalong. Di ba? Very compelling din.
And by the way, the two are working together from what I understand.
Yes.
Part of the same movement. There'll be an event soon, by the way. I'm sure you're also aware. So yeah, of course, Mayor Magalong, also a friend of ours. Yeah, so the two are working together because I think they both understand they're on the same boat, right?
Yeah. So, maraming mga local na mag-aspire for national using what did they do well or good on the local level.
And just rewind a little bit and then we'll fast forward. Ako ang basa ko talaga, had Biden, had Binay not attended those debates, especially yung first debate especially yung TV5 debate, even more than the GMA debate, no? I think he had a very good chance of winning it because for me, without Binay coming down, I didn't see any chance for Mayor Duterte to go up. I mean, Makati, Davao, no offense. I mean, Binay, mas benta talaga si Binay, di ba? In every sense of the word. And mas compelling yung position niya. So I think really the collapse of Binay was really the most decisive factor for the victory of Rodrigo Duterte, di ba? Kasi siya yung parang backup mayor plan di ba? I mean, the real mayor president plan was Binay, even though he was coming as a vice president. What do you read about that? I mean, there are many factors that explain Duterte's victory, but for me, the fall of Binay was really a big element. I think the biggest element, if ever, yeah.
Yeah. Siyempre maraming variables dyan ngayon may benefit tayo ng hindsight. Pero nung nangyayari yan, hindi pa natin naiisip yung mga bagay na yan. No? Halimbawa, kung nakasuhan si Digong noong 2013 ni Laila de Lima.
Yung mga counterfactual na to.
Sa killing ng DDS sa Davao. Then tapos na siya. Kaso may mga unseen hand na kumilos at hindi natuloy yung kaso na yan. Kaya galit na galit si Digong.
Kasalanan nyo yan Admin nyo yan
Kaya
Admin
galit na galit.
Bakit nyo hindi
yan? Pero yung tumugi sa kanya si Laila. Admin namin, di ba? Pero may mga nangyari kaya hindi natuloy. No? Pero kung natuloy yun, baka iba yung narrative ngayon. Halimbawa, kung hindi na investigahan si Binay dun sa kanyang farm, yung kanyang mga hogs na naka-aircon, no? Yung
yun lang. Yun yung original na lumaki sa farm.
Yung green building.
Yung
green building na parking building ng kanyang anak sa Makati na there's nothing green about that except the paint possibly, no? Yung napaka-overpriced mga gamit sa Makati Hospital, di ba? So kung hindi nangyari 'yon, baka unstoppable si Binay even with the Digong running, no? So yun yung tapos
pero Ronald,
yung
kasalanan namin yan kasi kami nag-expose yan. I mean, Philippine Daily Inquirer, when I say kami. I mean, it was front page of Philippine Daily Inquirer. How many months? I mean, how many months?
Yeah. Tapos, kung hindi nawala yung narrative ni Grace po, yung foundling narrative na very compelling going into the campaign, no?
Which
lalo na
ginagaya ni Go, di ba? If you look
oh,
at Mayor Go's game, parang gusto niyo mag-Grace Go effect, di ba?
clearly apples
Napaawa
and
ka.
oranges yun, no? Magkaiba yun. Pero very compelling yun. Pero nagulat ako at the start of the campaign na wala yung founding narrative. And she began to sound like a traditional politician, 'di ba? So nawala yung yung pagiging sariwa ni Grace po. Nawala yung very compelling narrative as a foundling. Nawala yung FPJ mystic. At napunta na during the debate yung mga usual na sagot ng mga politiko. So maraming mga variables na looking back, kung hindi nagbago, pwedeng si Binay, pwedeng hindi si Digong, pwedeng si Grace po, di ba? Yun yung
Well,
at
yun nga eh.
wag natin kalimutan,
Right.
number 2 si Mar. He
And
got more than
that's
10
also,
million votes. Ibig sabihin,
yeah, pero ang baba
he,
ng second preference niya. Ang
he
baba ng
wasn't
second preference. Parang
he wasn't
he meet already his
yes, but he wasn't a pushover,
He
no?
was not. No, no, no,
Uh,
he was not.
Dahil
Yeah.
number 2 siya eh. Si 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 Binay 5 million yata, tapos si Grace po bumaba na talaga, no? So anybody, it could have been anybody's ball game. Depende sa mga pangyayari, no? Na tinitingnan
Swerte talaga.
natin.
I'm just telling you na gaano ka swerte si Digong kasi it took 10 factor stars coming together for that happen.
Yeah.
Any one of them, the graceful thing, the Binay thing, I mean, you could have thought just one of them didn't work.
Laila de Lima thing, di
Ang
ba?
dami, ang dami ko. Kaya nga sabi ko, I don't believe na inevitable yung kay Digong. There was nothing inevitable. There was something
Yes.
shocking in a sense that I understand populism, its appeal, whatever. I've written books on that. But ang point ko is, swerte din talaga siya eh. Yung the fact na yung replacement niya, yung
early
replacement niya.
2015, early 2015 sinasabi ko yung kila Pinoy natatakbo si Digong. Nung sinasabi ni Digong na hindi siya tatakbo. Sabi nila, hindi tatakbo yan.
And
No?
everyone's underestimating him. Yeah, I remember that.
Yun yung tapos nung nagkuha na siya, nagsimula na siyang magsabi na tatakbo ako kung. Sabi ko, di ba? Di ba? Tatakbo.
Alam na this. Yeah,
Ang sabi naman nila ay kung tumakbo si Digong, pabor sa atin yan. Makakabawas siya ng boto
I
kay
know,
Binay.
exactly. That was the logic, right?
So,
That you
diba?
thought is the idiot who will do the dirty job for you pala, he'll steal your lunch.
Yes. So, nung late na, mga Enero na nakita siya as the main enemy. That was already the start of the official campaign.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Just to be clear, on the record, August, September pa lang sabi ko he's gonna be the dark horse. When no one believed him, he was 3%. Kaya
ako sabi ko February, I was in a birthday party in
February 2015 just to remind people. So this is
in Gloria Maris,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
February 9, 2015 sa Gloria Maris. I was there when pumunta si Bongo at saka si Lito Banayo at saka si Digong na kinausap nila sa ERAP para hiramin si Ben Jokno at saka si Liling Briones to be part of their kitchen cabinet. So that early, nagbubuo na ng kitchen cabinet si Digong. Habang everybody thought hindi siya tatakbo dahil yun ang sinasabi niya. No?
I think, Ronald, the fact na meron
I felt like a voice in the wilderness. Walang naniniwala sa akin.
Dapat tayong friends nun. Dapat nun tayo may R&R. Imagine kung may R&R tayo nun. Tayong dalawa yung nag-warning about Digong. No, I think because we're steeped in...
I even have a picture of that meeting. I even have a picture.
Yeah. No, I realize because we're steeped in progressive and European history, alam natin where fascism comes from, where populism comes from. So I think that's where yung parang hindi ko i-underestimate yan eh. And in my case kasi, I've been following Modi, Jokowi, Erdogan. So parang, why wouldn't we have one in the Philippines na nakakatakot version ng populism na worse than ERAP? And here we are. But thank you for that. Now let's talk about the real opposition. No, but I'm just reminding people, there was nothing inevitable with Digong. Talagang naswerte lang talaga siya. So many things came to. Kaya dapat sana hindi ulitin. Kaya dapat matuto natin yung lessons. Yeah.